Hello and welcome to the NetApp Astra Control session at Cloud Native Data Management Day here at KubeCon North America 2021. I'm Saha, a Senior Director of Product Management at NetApp, responsible for NetApp Astra product and strategy. So let's look at what we're going to cover in this session. We'll look at why we need data management for Kubernetes in the first place. Then we'll spend time on why we built Astra. Then we'll look into Astra Control use cases. After that, we'll provide a brief overview of Astra, including what it is, how it works, and who is it for. After that, we'll take a quick glimpse into what does the future look like for Astra Control. Then we'll end the presentation with key takeaways. So enterprises are driving stateful application growth in Kubernetes. A recent CNCF survey showed that 55% of the respondents were running stateful applications on Kubernetes. Thanks to the CSI standard, stateful applications are now a reality on Kubernetes, which was not the case when Kubernetes was founded. And persistent storage for Kubernetes, which was a big problem in the earlier days, is now for the most part a solved problem. However, CSI and persistent storage solves the first order persistent issues with Kubernetes. Our customers are asking for more. They want disaster tolerance, disaster recovery, application mobility, and high availability for their business critical Kubernetes applications. So data management for business critical Kubernetes applications can no longer be an afterthought. So let's try to answer a few questions. What do you do if you accidentally corrupt your cloud native database on Kubernetes? What do you do if your public cloud AZR region or your data center is experiencing either an outage, a degradation in service, or high API error rates? How do you move your application from one cluster to another cluster quickly and easily so that you can test with a new version of Kubernetes that your application won't break? Stateful applications in Kubernetes need more than just persistent storage. So data cannot be lost or corrupted even in a cloud native world. Business needs to recover and continue under all conditions. Application portability and mobility is critical in a cloud native environment. Application data is sometimes much more valuable than the Kubernetes clusters we created them, because Kubernetes clusters are often very transient in nature. Now, application state in Kubernetes is not just persistent volumes. You cannot take snapshots of the PVs that make up your application, stitch them together, and expect that and take a backup of that and expect that when you restore the application will just work. That won't happen. There's a whole bunch of other Kubernetes resources, standard resources and custom resources that often comprise in Kubernetes application, like config maps, like secrets, like stateful sets, like daemon sets, deployment, service, etc., that all needs to be accounted for when you back up a Kubernetes application. Consequently, the complete state of the app is required for restore and recovery. So backup and restore of persistent volumes alone is not sufficient. Kubernetes resources, both standard and custom, are required. Protection policies are required to achieve the RPO and the RTOs that are needed for your business critical Kubernetes applications. At NetApp, we conceived Astra to solve a range of these problems that our customers are facing as they try to bring more and more stateful workloads to Kubernetes. The NetApp Astra portfolio today is vast. It has a control and a data plane. The control plane on the left comprises of Astra Control, Astra Trident. The data plane technology or the product on the right consists of a Kubernetes native software-defined storage solution called Astra Data Store. In today's presentation, in this session, we are going to focus on the Astra Control portfolio. If you are interested in learning more about the Astra Data Store, please attend the CNDM Astra Data Store session by my colleague Rishi Karimani. So let's look at what are the use cases that NetApp Astra Control is solving. It includes things like application data protection, application data or disaster recovery, application migration and portability, application data audit, retention, and governance. It's a whole gamut of use cases that you need when you start running more and more critical business critical applications on Kubernetes. Now let's zoom in on the Astra Control portfolio as a whole. NetApp's Astra Control portfolio consists of a fully managed cloud service called the Astra Control service. It supports public cloud Kubernetes, fully managed public cloud Kubernetes services like K8s and GKE, with storage providers that are also fully managed like NetApp Cloud Volumes ONTAP platform and other public cloud storage. The other portion of the NetApp Control portfolio consists of what we call a customer managed software product called Astra Control Center. Astra Control Center is mainly meant for running on premises. For storage providers, it supports ONTAP, all different flavors of ONTAP, including AFF, FAS, and others, as well as our new Astra Data Store. Astra operates on the application as a whole. As I talked earlier, Astra doesn't just look at PVs and PVCs and tries to back them up. Astra looks at everything that makes up your Kubernetes application within a namespace, across a namespace, cluster scoped, etc., etc. So we focus on the application as one unit and not just individual components. Let's look at a high-level layer cake diagram for Astra Control. On the top, we have Astra Control, followed by the stateful applications that you bring. You means you the customer. You also bring your own Kubernetes. Astra is not trying to provide you a Kubernetes platform at all. It works with your Kubernetes. Then NetApp brings its widely adopted Trident CSI driver and its enterprise grade storage portfolio in both public cloud and on premises to provide the storage and the data services that you need to run your business critical operations applications on Kubernetes. So let's look at the data services that Astra provides. You can protect your data or your applications with local backups. So if you mistakenly corrupted your database, you can revert to an older version of the database in your application and be safe. If the storage platform that you are using is somehow not functioning well, or something has happened in the region where you're running in a Kubernetes cluster, you can then execute a disaster recovery workflow using Astra's remote backup capability. If you want to quickly move your application from one cluster to another, you can use Astra's active cloning, which helps you to move an application very quickly and easily from one K8s cluster to another cluster, across regions, across data centers, or across even multiple clouds. Astra also maintains a rich audit log, which shows you who has accessed what data operations on your Kubernetes app at any time in a chronological order. And you can filter that log based on app. From day one, we designed Astra to make sure it can handle application and data portability. So moving a workload from one cluster to another, or migrating a workload from one cluster to another across cloud regions or across two data centers on premises is really easy. So let's look quickly at how does Astra work. To start, you simply have to register the clusters, your Kubernetes clusters, with Astra. Astra will then automatically discover all of the applications and the namespaces that run in the cluster. After that, Astra provides you a catalog of data management operations like backup, recovery, cloning, and snapshotting, which you can invoke on your Kubernetes namespaces and applications as you please. You can also set up data protection schedules very easily so that you don't have to worry about taking on-demand snapshots or backups. The schedule will just trigger based on your business needs. If you are an application admin who wants to make sure that the application is up and running all the time, you'll benefit from Astra. Astra will automatically manage and protect your application state configuration and data. If you are a cloud infrastructure admin or a Kubernetes admin and you're primarily concerned about making sure your Kubernetes clusters and environment is up and running and your application owners are not impacted in case of an outage or a disaster, you'll benefit from Astra. If you are an IT or a backup admin, Astra can become your one-stop shop for providing data protection and storage management for your Kubernetes environment. Now let's look at the major milestones that Astra achieved in just this calendar year. We have been on a roll. In March of 2021, that is this year March, we launched support for Astra in Google Cloud with GKE, Google Kubernetes Engine, and Cloud Volume Service as the storage provider. 1 month later, in April, we added support for Azure. In Azure, we support K8s with Azure NetApp files as the storage provider. In August, we launched Astra Control Center with support for Red Hat OpenShift and the ONTAP portfolio. In October, we are releasing a preview of the Astra Data Store product, which is our Kubernetes native software-defined storage product. In December 21, we have an exciting release coming up for Astra Control with a lot of new functionality that our customers have been asking for. However, our journey with Astra has just begun. Customers want Astra to support non-NetApp storage. We are looking into it. Customers want Astra to support workflows with cloud database as a service. We are looking into it. Customers want support for Windows apps. We have that in our roadmap. So let's look at some key takeaways. Astra is NetApp portfolio for Kubernetes storage and data management. When you think about Astra in NetApp, think Kubernetes storage and data. Astra provides storage and data management for Kubernetes leveraging NetApp's proven storage and data services. Astra is very, very important and your key to running business critical stateful workloads on Kubernetes. Please check out Astra at cloud.netapp.com/Astra. Hopefully you enjoyed this session. Have a great cloud native data management day at KubeCon and also enjoy KubeCon North America 2021. Thank you. This is Saha signing off.